everybody?
What's going on, guys? It's Michael Gascon, the horse guru. I'm here with my lovely wife, Kelsey, and we are here for the Confidence Coaching Week. We are so excited to be here with you guys. We've been waiting a long time to put this on, and basically, this whole week, we are going to be talking about trials and tribulations and the things that where our confidence come from and where you can find yours to help you along with this horse journey that we're on. And we kind of have a theme for the week. We were lucky enough to go on a life changing, the most amazing horse safari ever. And we spent time over in Africa, over 2 weeks in Zimbabwe to be exact. And we got to see the most magical wildlife from elephants, to wildebeest, to
Hyenas.
Pumbaa, everybody, all off of horseback.
Right, there's a lot of lying.
Exactly. It was really cool. Really got to ride horses. Just the definitely the destiny of a lifetime, destination of a lifetime, once in a lifetime vacation. So excited. And we all got to do that and got the opportunity through horseback. So amazing to get that opportunity. It's amazing how far we've been able to go on the back of a horse.
And since we're kind of cheesy like that, we're making this whole theme of confidence, which can kind of be a taboo conversation to have. But at the end of the day, we all have confidence issues. We all have it in our own part of horsemanship, our own part of owning horses, different parts of our life, which we're going to talk about. And ultimately, at the end of the day, in order to be able to grow as a person, to grow with your horse, and get to whatever goals that you have to start getting through that. And as you advance and as you do bigger and greater things, then you're going to find more issues with confidence that you're going to have to overcome, which is also some other things that we're going to cover. So we're going to use this whole African safari Lion King theme throughout the week. We're going to give you a little bit of our behind the scenes vlog tour at the end of this. Couple different things that we have planned for tonight. If you did not get the email, if you haven't signed up for the Confidence Coaching Week to get into our private Facebook group, which is where these talks will be after tonight. Right now, this is broadcasted everywhere. So you might see us on our Facebook page, our Horse Help page, in the private Confidence Coaching group, on our YouTube channel. Everybody can watch this right now. But after tomorrow, we're going to go into our own little private group, and we hope that you click the little link, follow that, and come join us over there so you can make sure that you catch up on all of the lives and all of the replays if you can't catch us in person. And we kind of took some different quotes. If you've been following along through the emails, we've taken some quotes from Lion King and we've used those as our topics for each of the day to be able to kind of go through and talk about confidence issues, talk about just overall positivity and being able to get through things. Unfortunately, the horse industry has kind of gotten a bad rap for not making people feel welcome and not making people feel like they can really find success with their horse. And we want to change that. We want to change that environment, and we want to share that with you. So for most of you, we've been kind of catching up in the confidence coaching group, and everybody had to go in there and tell us, what are you struggling with? What are your problems? And a good deal of people were having so many different confidence issues, but a lot of you have the same issues. And another thing that you kind of see a lot in the trend is many of you have horses, you take care of them, you spend your hard-earned money being able to support them, love them, give them a great home. And at the end of the day, you're not going out and you're not able to enjoy every ride. You're not able to feel safe. Many of you grew up on horses and felt invincible and, rode bareback and cantered everywhere and just lived life to its fullest because you weren't afraid. You didn't have that fear in the back of your head. And now you're in this position where you might have, this is so I don't run late. If I don't put an alarm, I don't remember. What you run into is everybody takes a little bit of a break off from that, and they might have put horses on the back burner to follow a career, start a family, whatever that might be. And so horses kind of got pushed to the back burner, and now you're back into horses and you're trying to follow that journey and pursue that passion, and you don't have the same confidence level that you did, and you want to feel safe. You don't want to get hurt. And that's where we come in. So we want to talk to you a little bit about kind of how we started. If you haven't met Michael or myself, I'm going to let him go first because I talk a lot. So you're going to see him. If you see my head moving to the side, it's him nudging me because he wants to talk. So if you want to tell them a little bit about yourself and kind of the start that you got, and then I'll tell the opposite end of the spectrum.
Guys, we are so excited to have you here. We hope you join for this week. It's going to be all about peace, love, and positivity. We feel like we want to breathe that into the industry. I've been able to come up in a path that was less traveled, and it's all about collaboration. It's all about really just evolving and standing on the shoulders of the people who came before us, and that's how we evolve and get better. We know that growth is the key to happiness, and what you got to remember is that you're not alone. in this process. And a lot of times, frustration sets in when knowledge runs out. And if we're able to get people around us that have been there and done it before, it's a lot easier to get there. So over the course of this week, you're going to see just how we were able to make it to this amazing position that we're in and be able to travel around the world, helping problem horses and folks with their horses gain confidence on their horses. And it all came through riding a horse. And believe it or not, I sucked at every aspect of riding a horse at some point in time in my career. And through the power of focus and repetition, and a lot of collaboration and a lot of amazing mentors
and a lot of lessons learned
and a lot of information over the years, it's really helped. So what we want to do through this Confidence Coaching Week is really just sign you up where you don't have to travel around the world to get this information, and you don't have to have countless mentors, and you don't have to, spend half of your life trying to pick up this information, because we want to bring it to you in easy to pick up and guide where you can just be confident, ride your horse from point A to point B, and be happy with your horse. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Michael Gascon, and I'm a 5th generation horse trainer. I was born and raised on a Paso Fino farm. My father was an amazing horseman, and he's an off the boat Cuban. So a lot of his stories sound like Tony Montana. He definitely has the thick old accent. And he learned how to ride from his grandfather in Spain, riding rejoneo horses, which are bullfighting horses. And my mother was raised in Western horses, riding Western pleasure horses and barrel horses. But I was raised in Paso Finos in the show ring. And I did everything that I could as a kid not to be a horse trainer, because everybody in my family is a horse trainer. So I said, I'm going to be a boxer. I'm going to be construction worker. I'm going to be a deep sea diver. I'm going to sell cars. I'm going to do all these things. Ended up getting called back to horses. It was like a whisper in the back of my mind. Every time I pick up a new career, it's like, man, I feel like I'm missing something. I feel like I'm missing something. So finally, I picked it up and came back to horses. And a couple things that I was told whenever I decided to quit my job as a deep sea diver and become a horse trainer. And a lot of my friends who I was raised with, they from the get-go became horse trainers. I mean, from the time they were 12, they knew they wanted to be a horse trainer. And when I told those guys, hey, I'm going to leave my 6-figure a year job as a deep sea diver to become a horse trainer, they said, are you crazy? We can't sell horses or give away training. What are you talking about? You're going to starve. You'll never make any money as a horse trainer, and you'll be stuck on a farm. You'll never get to travel. You got that wild hair and that twinkle in your eye. You like to travel and adventure and stuff. If you become a horse trainer, you'll be stuck on the farm and you'll never make any money. So you got to be careful with who you let talk to you, because if that would have been the closing of the book and say, listen to those folks, we wouldn't be here talking right now. And luckily, I have been blessed and fortunate to be able to create a good life for myself and the village around me, the compound, as we call it, the whole family, everybody, and their mother.
Give a little bit of a heads up. So over the next week, we're going to really get to know each other. And when we have these conversations, it's going to sound really wild. And if you haven't been here, I need you to just picture this scenario, right? So we have our farm, and at the farm, we have above the barn. That's where my best friend and trick riding partner, Shelby Edberson, her husband, and their daughter, Willow, live. Connected to the farm on the other side of it is Michael's parents, his mom and dad. 5 miles from here is Brooke, Michael's sister. She's our nutritionist for the program. She also runs Horse Haven Ranch Therapy out of the barn and does a lot of rehab horses. And then you go a half a mile down the road and just barely off the edge of the farm, that's where Michael, myself, our daughter Millie, and my mother live. It takes a village to make these things happen. And it really has taken a village to help us through this, not just this entire business and everything that has to go through it, but without having a support system and having the family that we do here to be with us and help us with our daughter, we wouldn't be able to travel and see the world and be able to help horses all over the world, people all over the world, and being able to do that just wouldn't be possible without our family. So shout out to them. When we start talking about where everybody's at, We all live here together. All of our academy students live here on the farm as well. So if you hear us talking about them, we have so many different sections of our business. And one of those programs that we have is a full horse training academy where people come to learn how to train horses, to see if this is really something that they're cut out to do, if it's something they want to do. Because at the end of the day, people see horses and they want to do that. And they get here and they're like, wow, it's a lot of work to take care of horses every day.
I never get a student that comes here that says, how was the experience? It was okay. It was either the best time of their life because they worked every single breed they can imagine. They learned, 15 different disciplines, from driving the tricks to liberty to gated to western to shooting to roping to everything they could think of. Or it was the worst time of their life. The days were from early in the morning before the sun came up to late at night. They don't work a 9 to 5. They work a 5 to 9. That's the life of a horse trainer. Okay, if you want to be a horse trainer, here you go. So it's awesome to see, perception is everything. We feel blessed and fortunate to be able to be here doing this, 16, 17 hours a day, every day.
Keep in mind, it's our job to do the reps, so you don't have to.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, let us go and figure out, not just in the horse training aspect, but in life, in business, and whatever route that you're going in, any way that we can be helped, that's what we're here for. So don't hesitate to reach out. Don't hesitate to throw something in the comments. As we go through this, it's completely open Q&A. And we want to help make your life and your process, whatever your goals are, to get there as streamlined as possible. And if we can skip you some of the mistakes that we've made in our path, we would be happy to do that. I didn't mean to interrupt you on the whole family thing, but continue.
Yes. So that's just it. So again, early on in my career, a lot of great mentors would tell me stuff and I'll say, yeah. And then I get hurt. Bam. Oh, I get bucked off. I get kicked. I get bit. I get struck. I get flipped over on. As I get a little bit more experienced or aged, like a fine wine, if you will, or a country moonshine, more like it, I've learned that when somebody that knows what they're talking about tells me something and says, be careful for this, you know what? I listen to them now because, I listen to their pain and their voice. I'll say, oh, okay, that's something understood. Gotcha. So that's exactly what I want to do for you. And we want to help you gain your confidence. Understand, human beings, we simply fear the unknown. So if there's something that is making you unconfident in this process, basically you just don't know how to do it. Once you figure out how to do that, then the confidence is going to come with it. And that's exactly what we plan to do this week.
Well, and the same thing with that is to be able to expect what some people would call the unexpected. When we're working with horses and we're doing different things, we try to put together a process to where the horse isn't surprising us. When everybody talks about their horse being unpredictable or not seeing a situation, it's kind of our job to step in and show you steps to be able to work with your horse to see these red flags and do what we would call like a pre-ride checklist to make sure that you have that horse's attention, to make sure you've gone through that process to where if something does happen, you know exactly what to do in that situation and you've taught and prepared that horse how to handle that situation. So many of these instances where we get hurt or our horses get in a situation where they're uncomfortable is we haven't trained that process. We haven't trained them to be in environments where they're a little bit uncomfortable, when things make them nervous, when things get crazy. We do soccer games and all these wild things that people from the outside looking in, they look at us and they're like, why are they doing that? But if you've ever been to a retreat or you've been through our training program or had a horse go through our program, when they leave here, they're so excited to leave to be around normal people that they don't even pay attention to the fact that that little trash bag that scared them, that little blowing in the wind, little bird popping out of the bush, because there was so much craziness that you just set that horse up for success. And we put them in situations where if they get uncomfortable, we redirect them and say, hey, we're the leader. We're going to get you through this. We're not going to let you get hurt. And that's the same thing with your confidence. To be able to build your confidence is being able to find those successes and find success, get more comfortable. Find more success, get more comfortable. And your horse kind of goes through that same situation with you as well. I'm going to kind of hop off of his train for just a second. I'll give the mic back. Maybe. He might have to nudge me again. But I'm Kelsey Gascon. I'm his wife. We've been married since New Year's Eve 2020. We figured that was...
I've said half of the words since that date. No, go ahead. You're doing great.
It's fine. Okay.
Horses are the most honorable creatures. Talking about what she was just saying about oh, I don't know what's going to happen, this, that, and other. If you get surprised by your horse, you simply didn't ask the right questions. As we were back on my story, I'm Michael Gascon, the horse guru, and I have the most amazing job of riding around all over the world, riding some of the most problematic horses in the world. And the only way you can ride 400 or 500 horses a year and live to tell the tale is by being able to ask them who they are and have them tell you. And that's how we are going to get you to gain your confidence. All right.
Did you just reintroduce yourself?
You didn't let me finish my introduction to start with.
You've had like 4 introductions.
I've had 4 introductions.
Yeah.
But I can never finish because you start talking.
That's what I'm here for.
Okay, go ahead.
It's my job,
where are you from,
title.
babe?
Job title. Interrupter. You can't.
From
We've
the
been together.
metropolis.
We've been together for a long time, and you still can't say the town I'm from.
Bonus meal.
There you go. That's good. I corrected him this morning already, so I trained him for this moment. Like I said, I'm Kelsey Gascon. I am wife of the horse guru, Michael Gascon. We've been together for almost 5 years, and we've been married for 2, and we work together every single day. And we've been together every single day for that whole period of almost 5 years. So in like relationship terms, that's really like 20 years. If you think about all the time that you spend together. And we haven't voted each other off the island. So I feel like that's good. So as I'm nudging him under the table, telling him what to do and what not to do, it's fine. It's all okay. Train your husband like you train your horse. Have the same expectations that you have for your husband and hold those same standards for your pony. And the world is a better place.
Repeat, repeat, repeat until your horse does it.
Okay. I'm from a small town in Missouri called Bonnets Mill. And I grew up on the total opposite end of the spectrum. So I'm a first generation horsewoman. I am the daughter of a entrepreneur / stay-at-home mom and a truck driver.
What was that? You're the daughter of a truck driver?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Just point that out. Keep going. You're good.
Mm-hmm.
We got to point that out because whenever we were dating, she could drive a truck and a trailer. She had a 7-horse trailer. It was like 42 foot long. And she had this big Dodge and she would drive it all over. I never had to drive. I was like, oh my gosh, this is the woman of my dreams. I'll never have to drive again. The day we got married, she's never driven again. It was false advertisement. It's like when you go to McDonald's and you see that wonderful picture up there with the Big Mac. And then when they give it to you, it's not so big as the Big Mac on the picture. False advertisement. I'm sorry. Go ahead. What? This is just orientation day, so we're
it's okay.
letting them know who you are.
It's all right. I can't wait to look in the comments and see how many of our Team MG people are rooting for me because I'm the favorite. I'm always the favorite.
Go ahead.
Anywho, so I grew up in a non-horse community, non-horse life, non-horse people. For some reason, as soon as I could talk, all I wanted was a horse. I got 2 riding lessons when I was 7, and we lived so far away from everything that it was too much to have to go and travel to go to horseback riding lessons. My dad, when I turned 11, did what every good horse parent should do and buy their kid a 3-day-old colt and a broodmare so we could grow together, which we did. Nobody died. It was not a tragic experience. I still have that horse to this day. He is one of my retired trick riding horses, and he lives in my yard right next to my house. So it ended up being a good end to that situation, but there was a lot of self-teaching going on. There was a lot of John Lyons, watching videos of him on RFD TV when I could, and watching Clinton Anderson on RFD TV when I was a kid. And so I just kind of went out and tried all these things. My dad realized I was going to get hurt, sent my horse off to training. My horse got blown up. And then I kind of ended up I figured I was doing sports and playing all these things during high school because nobody else did horses. So I was kind of the outcast in that perspective. And I decided that I wasn't going to pursue a track scholarship that I got and that I wanted to take my horse to college with me and really pursue the horse side of things and kind of see where that would take me. So I took my horse to college with me and I did all of the different teams that they had. They had a ranch horse team. They had all these equestrian teams. And I was I wasn't president at the time. I was one of the board members for the Horsemen's Association. And I had previously seen trick riding. Right after I graduated high school, I went to this event called Briar Fest. If you've ever seen the toy horses and the toy models, I went there and I saw these girls called the All-American Cowgirl Chicks, and they performed trick riding. And so I called my dad. I'm like, Dad, I'm going to be a trick rider. This is right up my alley. I can be athletic and combine horses. This is so awesome. He said, absolutely not. You live under my roof. So at that time I was 17, went to college, been in school for 2 years, and I'm helping with the Horsemen's Association. And we find out that there's going to be these trick riders coming to perform that actually went to the school there. And the owner of that team at the time was Shelby Epperson, who's now my best friend and my trick riding partner, and we own the business together. I saw them perform. I told my dad, I said, Dad, I'm 19 and this is what I'm going to do. And that was kind of what really spearheaded that part of my career. And keep in mind, up until this point, self-taught. I had volunteered for a therapeutic riding center. I had learned some things when I was there to try to give me a little bit of foundation, a little bit of horsemanship, because there was not a whole lot of smart things going on. I was fearless. I rode bareback in a flat halter. So many sketchy things. But like I said, I survived. Everything's good. And I can remember a couple pivotal moments through that learning experience. And I remember when I first got to college and I had this horse Lightning that I had trained and helped with this process. And I'm at ranch horse practice and everybody's going around and they're loping circles. And my coach at the time got a little aggressive with me and started yelling at me to get on the correct lead. And I'm just looking around like, I have no idea what that means. Like, not even kind of a little bit. And the ranch horse side of things was a little bit more laid back than some of the equestrian teams where you really had to know what you were doing. And you were kind of getting thrown to the wolves in the show world because everybody kind of had a little bit of a background with that. And I remember feeling so stupid because, I couldn't figure out why he was mad at me. And I had to go home and I kind of just played it off and went home, had to get on YouTube in my apartment at college instead of studying like I probably should have been. And I spent the whole night trying to figure out what leads were and going through that process. And I was able to fix it. I was able to find some people and get help. But again, I had kind of had to surround myself around people that I felt could bring my confidence up and could really make me feel like I was a part of something. I didn't want to put myself back in a situation where I felt like I was learning something new or struggling with something in front of a group of people that I didn't feel that support from. So ultimately, I ended up going with Shelby and going to a trick riding practice and kind of going full bore with that because I was in a position where I was lucky to be a little bit naturally talented at it. And we just kind of ran with it. So we went from being 3 performances within that local area to traveling all over the world, pursuing this as our full-time career. Flash forward past that and, advancing, getting faster horses, faster tricks, working harder, kind of doing what Michael was doing and traveling to all these different people to learn. I wanted to learn as much as I could to be able to advance myself, advance my horses, and come full circle. We were 2015, 2016, 2015, one of those years. Michael was reaching out, trying to figure out all these different mentors that he was going to. And this is where our paths crossed. He decided that he wanted to learn trick riding. He got a hold of a colleague of mine that was down here in Mississippi. And he came up, did a 2-day clinic in Missouri. It was snowing outside.
It was a blizzard.
It was a little bit of snow, not a blizzard.
Blizzard.
It was definitely not a blizzard. Anywho, so he came up to Missouri for 2 days. I kicked his butt. He was bruised, battered, had blistered hands. So I have a firm belief if you're going to come learn to trick ride from me and you're a guy, then you have to do the guy tricks, which are a lot harder. Some of them. There's a lot of girl tricks that are hard too, but more upper body strength, front flips, back flips, all these crazy things. And so he went back home. I didn't hear from him for about 3 years. He kind of checked in for my national championships, things like that, to make sure everything was going good. And then I spent a month in Australia teaching trick riding. And the week that I got back in 2018, I was supposed to go down to Mississippi to teach Michael how to trick ride, help some of his academy students. And I went from being in an area in Missouri where nobody did horses, nobody understood what I was doing. I was basically going to college and continuing to go to college and going to school more and more. So I did my bachelor's, I did my master's, I was working on my doctorate degree, and I was 2 semesters away from graduating with my doctorate degree at this time when I went down to Mississippi. And I remember Michael saying to me, "Why are you still in school?" And I had to stop and think about it for a second, because at this point I had gotten good at it. And the big mind blow there was I didn't know. I'm like, why? I'm under scholarship, but I started thinking about it, that everybody around me didn't believe that I could make a career doing horses. So even though I was trick riding full time and being a student full time, I knew that the longer I stayed in school, the less that I would have people telling me, when are you going to adult? When are you going to grow up? When are you going to get a real job? And I didn't want to get a real job. I wanted to do a job that I could do exactly what I love to do. I could help people. I could really showcase my talent, showcase my horse's talent, and have that bond with them and travel around the world showing that. And I didn't feel like I had that up in Missouri. And when I got down here and I spent a week down here, originally it was just supposed to be a couple days. And everybody who was down here was positive. Everybody who was down here did horses for a living. Everybody that was down here was in fully immersed in this life of living, breathing, sleeping, working horses all the time. And that was the life that I wanted for myself. I wanted to be able to know that I could wake up and have positive people around me that supported that dream and didn't make me feel like I wasn't going to be successful because of it. And now we've been able to, since that day and me moving down here, we've been able to build this business, to build this group of followers. So many of you that are on here have been supporting us for such a long time. There's so many familiar faces. I can't wait to hop on the comments and see what everybody's saying. And it just has been mind blowing. And so that's just a little bit of a background on us and kind of how we got here. But we really want to focus now on your turn. Nothing. No. You're not going to fill in the blanks. We're not going to try that. No. Okay.
Definitely not.
No. Okay.
No.
I thought it would be good. So Michael's kind of like herding squirrel cats. Like they go up the tree and then they run away and they go each different direction. So I have different ideas that we're going to do for this confidence coaching week. But I have to make sure that if Michael gets off on his little tangent, that I just grab the squirrel and bring it back over to the tree that we're supposed to be in. Because Michael is so positive to the extent, if you guys have been here and you've been around him, he's so positive to the extent that sometimes you might kind of feel like he's a drill sergeant. Like in the morning when I wake up and I hear YouTube telling me, don't lay in bed. You lay in bed, you're a quitter. Get up, be something. So he lets YouTube be the bad person, and then he gets to be the positive person all the time. So tell us something.
We are going to be talking about
now you're not talking.
Self-talk, positivity, and support. The self-talk is so important and so vital to your confidence. You got to be very mindful of your self-talk because it's a conversation with the universe. You keep telling yourself these things, and that's really what's going to happen, and the way that you change your self-image of what you got going on is relentless, repetitive self-talk will change self-image. Okay, so he who says he can and he who says he can't are both usually right. So what I found is growth is the key to happiness, and if we can keep we're switching around, that self-talk is so important. And that's where it all starts, because
I've been waiting for a long time to use these.
You got to be able to believe in yourself before anybody else. So the whole idea of all these other things, the support is super important and vital. Support is so important. Who's around you is so important. All that stuff is great. But if you can't start with yourself up and believing in yourself before anybody else does, nobody's going to believe in you for you. You can't make it happen for somebody else, but you got to start with that self-talk and believing in you. And what I find so many times is as adults, a lot of times we stop learning and we stop growing. If you see these percentages of people who read a book that are outside of high school, high school graduates, it's crazy. 80% of people have not picked up a book this year. College guys, it's something like 70%, about 70% of people have not read a book in a year. So you understand that you're not learning. What is college at the end of the day? College is simply an institution that tells you what books you should be reading to be able to do that job. Well, in this scenario, we're talking about horses and being confident on your horses. So we show you exactly.
Hold on. Sound is back. Uh-oh. I wonder why it went off.
Technical difficulties.
Where did it go off at?
Don't know.
Uh-oh. I wonder why it did that. How weird. Check your mic. Thank you. I'm glad that I saw the comments start coming in.
Can you hear us now?
Hold on 1 second. So,
horse mastery, technical difficulties.
hold on. Let me just put the real mic on real quick to see if that makes a difference. How weird. We are in a horse barn, so that might definitely be part of it.
We're in a horse barn in the middle of the woods. In the middle of South Mississippi, guys. We just got internet. Oh, ask the followers who are the diehards who have been here for a while.
When you moved the sign for self-talk, it went away. Wow. I'm like a magician. Okay, now I got to go back and say what you were saying. Sorry.
Gotcha.
It's okay.
Fix it first and then I'll talk.
Let me see if this makes a difference real quick. We have all the things. We just... How weird. Just kidding. I will just not move signs. All right.
All right, guys.
It was muffled after you turned around. Weird.
Don't turn around. Sit
okay,
there.
I'm sitting.
All right, guys.
Everything's
you good now?
Everybody
can hear us? Okay. Perfect. Back to self-talk. Self-talk is where everything starts. Okay. We really believe in the laws of attraction, and the thoughts that you think are the person you become. So if you have negative self-talk, you become a negative person, end up surrounding yourself with negative people. And it's very difficult to have a negative mindset and live a positive life. One will say it's impossible. You got to start with a positive mindset. Okay. And that positive self-talk of you can, you will, you must. And what I find, growth is the key to happiness. And just like everything, when you're getting in shape, or when you're going on a diet, or when you're working a horse, or when you're a little frustrated, the beginning is the hardest part. My great grandmother used to say, "Sonny, once you've begun, you're halfway done." She lived through the Great Depression. She was absolutely right. Once you've begun something, once you get started, the hardest part is to take initiative. And to take initiative, it starts with self-talk. So that's why it's so important whenever we're talking about a confidence coaching week, it all starts with self-talk. You have to see it in your head. You have to see it in your head before you can hold it in your hands. It starts in your mind. So many things in this life of ours. We saw it in our head first before we held it in our hand. We had talks back in 2015, and I told her way before it was going to happen. I was like, hey, I'm going to become a world-class cold starter. I'm going to have a Western hotel. People are going to come from all over the world to come stay with us in Mississippi. When I told my father this, he said, "Nobody going to come to Mississippi. You got to move to where the people live. You got to move to the city. You need to move to the city. You want to have people come to you. You got to move to the city where the people are." I was like, all right, Dad. All right, I'm going to build it. They're going to come. Just watch. Just watch. Next thing you know, she shows up in 2018, and we sit there and talk for like 4 hours straight about all the things that we had said that we were going to do, and they all came to fruition on both of our ends. She became a national champion trick rider and won all these championships all over. The conversation we had was in the Western Hotel, which was just a figment of my imagination when I told her. The viral videos that I was able to make, they were actually real and got my career off the ground, which they were just a figment of my imagination whenever we first started talking about them. So it's really cool how self-talk and visualization will manifest itself. So,
and it's important to note these conversations. It was never, I think I'm going to. I've thought about doing this. It was, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be this person. I'm going to make this happen. And if you don't have those conversations, and we're going to be 100% honest with you, there's days when things are hard, when things are more difficult, when you're struggling, when you fail, and we're going to talk about failure as well and how that ends up benefiting us in the long run. There's going to be times where you're going to hit roadblock after roadblock after roadblock, and you're going to think, holy crap, like, am I cut out for this? Is this something I can do? And when you start questioning and stop making statements and stop making proclamations that you're going to do something, that's when things turn south. When you start doubting yourself, when you start doubting the horses, when you start doubting people around you, you have to be able to turn those conversations back around And Michael and I have had this conversation even recently. We were talking about, different things that we do on our own, things that we've learned through our research, and these audibles and these things that we watch and listen to all the time. We're always constantly working on self-growth, even outside of the horse industry. Like, what can we do to be better people? What can we do to serve more people? What can we do to reach our goals and make everybody around us and really bring and lift everybody that's around us up to that same level? And he said, I have to do something to I get to do something, to realize that you're blessed to have the privilege to even say that. Like what? Give us some examples. What did you say today as you're working horses? You got up at 5 o'clock this morning. You've been working horses since 6 a.m.
I get to go work horses today. I get to work this next horse. I get to try to solve this problem of this horse that's going to try to throw me on my head. I get this opportunity. I'm blessed to do what I love for a living. So I get the opportunity. It's very difficult when it's hot and sweaty and everybody is melting and the students are quitting and the help is quitting and everybody's quitting and you're there by yourself with 20 training horses. I have to ride these horses. It's real easy to have that little shift, but words matter and self-talk matters. And something as simple as I get this opportunity. I get to work people's horses and stay around my family and live a life that I get to work full time and be around my daughter full time. I don't have to come back from work. She lives here. I live here. I work here. She works here. So.
And your wife.
Yeah. And my wife too. Of course. Very important. This stuff is so important. The other thing that we're going to be talking about is learning how to fail your way to success. If you aren't failing, you aren't trying. Okay, if you're not failing, you're not trying. I'm telling you just how it works. I always want to become the best teacher that I can be because I find that a lot of mentors that I've learned from were amazing at what they did, but were horrible teachers because they were so far removed from the learning process. They learned what they learned in 1972 was when they learned it, and they've just been practicing the same thing ever since. And they have forgot what it's like to be a student. So I love to go to new disciplines. I've tried so many different disciplines. It's hard to even list them all because I love going somewhere like a Blizzard, Missouri, and sucking at trick riding and failing because it feels so good to. Wait,
did you just say you sucked at trick riding?
Yeah.
Did you just admit it publicly?
No, momentarily I did. But then I got really good.
You were so bad.
I love going there and I love feeling that failure. And usually for most disciplines, unless I just absolutely love them, I just do it till I get proficient at it. And once I'm proficient at it, I completely lose interest and I go on to the next discipline. I really just wanted to wrap my head around how somebody thinks about horsemanship, who's hanging off of their butt or going under their neck or their belly. Like, how does that thought process work in horsemanship? The same way for driving the horse, or the same way for doing liberty, the same way for doing a routine. All these different things, working with the police officers and doing the riot patrols. Like, what is the thought process in the horsemanship? And what you're going to find out over the course of this week is so amazing to realize that a horse is a horse. And at the highest levels, at the A-level trainers around the world and through all the disciplines, whether you're shooting or archery or dressage or reining, whatever it is, everybody is saying the same thing in their own way, because at the highest levels, it's just speaking horse, and the language of the horse is universal. I've been to so many countries that I don't even understand the translator that they give me, but they put a horse in front of me and I understand them. You go all the way a 42-hour flight, all the way in transit, planes, trains, and automobiles to get to Africa in the most amazing place.
How'd that phone call go?
The phone call went like this. How'd you get to go to Africa, by the way, is what I keep getting asked. Well, this is how it went down. I'm working horses, as I do, sweating all day, as I do, and I get a call. She says, hello? Hi. I heard that you were pretty good at getting horses calm. Do you think you could get a horses calm to ride around elephants, wildebeest, and lions without taking a breath? Yes, ma'am. I'd be happy to. I can do that for you. No problem. I've never ridden around elephants prior to this past week. I've never been around the lion on a horse or tracked lion tracks looking for the lion, hunting a lion from horseback. I've never done that before, but I have a pure and honest belief in horsemanship and our ability to get a horse to do anything that we're looking for them to do. So I knew it could be done. I knew it had been done, so I knew I could do it. So I automatically said, yes, of course, no problem. And fast forward to the clinic, we're going through the safari. There's elephants, there's buffalo, a lot of colt starting. And remember, I'm at a place on the other side of the world. So horsemanship is way different. No, it's not. It's the same thing. We are in the bush in a safari, and they give me colts to start. And boy, do I love colt starting around people who have never been colt started around. Because I can remember the love that I have for colt starting, and the first time that I saw a colt start a horse in under an hour, and the magic when I saw somebody ride a horse that had never been ridden in under an hour without bucking, without fuss, without sweating, and it was easy. And it blew my mind. I thought it was magic. And what is magic? Magic is only magic if you don't know how it's done. You only get that effect if you don't know how it's done. The moment you see that they have a fake thumb, or the moment that you see they have a handkerchief behind their hand, or it's a sleight of hand or a cable, or there's a mirror, or there's a twin girl, and that's how they disappear, it's no longer magic. It's just steps. That's exactly what colt starting is. That's exactly what horsemanship is. When you see horsemanship at the highest level that looks magical, don't be impressed. Love it. It's beautiful. But don't be intimidated by it, because magic is only magic if you don't know how. And all you need is somebody to tell you what steps. And then you're like, oh, every time that I go after a new discipline now, I've been through so many that there's no intimidation factor whatsoever. I know if somebody else can do it, well, then there must be some steps to do it. So once you figure out those steps, it's that easy. Well, that's what our Confidence Coaching Week is going to be about for you, to take all the intimidation out, to take all of the down talking and the speaking over your head and all that. Let's just take that out of the way, and let's understand that, hey, this stuff is magical. Horses are freedom. It's amazingly fun and definitely life-changing. There's something about the outside of the horse that's good for the inside of a man. And it's only magic if you don't know how to do it. So if you think, oh my gosh, that's magic, I'll never be able to do that, it's so intimidating, it'll take forever, all these excuses.
That's bad self-talk. Don't do that.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get that self-talk.
I can do this. I'm willing to try.
If
I'm going to figure it out.
Somebody else did it, then you could do it. It's just that simple. And she came first generation horsemanship.
I knew nothing till I got here. I didn't realize how close I've been to death, like with trick riding and everything that goes into that. Because it takes me so long to get a good trick riding prospect, because I need a horse that will allow me to hang upside down, do front flips, do back flips, accidentally flank them, touch them, kick them, bop them, all the things on accident, and them still love me, them still want to do their job, they still want to take care of me. So I had a lot of rotten apples in that whole process, trying to find, build this perfect dream team. And knowing what I know now and kind of getting fully immersed into his system once I got here, I didn't realize how many red flags there were for every scar, for every batter, for every bruise or incident that I've had happen to me. There was a red flag that I would have known how to ask them the right questions to tell me if they were educated enough. And like Michael talks about, it wasn't bad behavior. None of it was bad behavior. It was horse behavior. It's the only way that they know how to communicate. And if you don't know how to ask them the questions, to teach them the right answer and teach them what you're looking for, then there's that gap of communication where you're not the best leader that you can be. And then you start getting upset with yourself. And then you start feeling like you're failing your horse, you're failing the process, you're going to mess them up. We specialize in problem horses that have been broken, that people have given up on, that people have sent 30 plus hours across the United States, passing hundreds of trainers because everybody has said the horse isn't going to make it. Put the horse down. The horse is going to kill somebody. It has killed somebody. It has broken somebody. Like that. Just as Michael can look at that horse in the eye and go through the steps and know how to fix them and nothing catches him off guard, I can get that phone call and be able to keep a straight face and have a conversation with somebody when they tell me that it just flipped over backwards and broke their trainer, that it just hurt their kid, that it just ate a child, whatever it may be, because we're comfortable doing that because we've put ourselves outside of our comfort zone and tried to bring all of our resources together, Michael's toolbox from working with all these different disciplines, to put together a program where we can ask the right questions. The owner wants that work to go and try to bridge that gap to help you guys. But when you talk about self-talk, when you cover that topic, it's really important to write things down. Not just saying it out loud, not just coming up with it off the dome, but even something as simple as writing it down before you go to bed, when you get up in the morning, with lipstick on your mirror, whatever. I've seen so many cool things, post-it notes everywhere. Just something simple as, let's get it out. I have no idea why it's doing that. We need to go out. Do we know why? I have absolutely no idea why it's doing that. Guys, I'm very sorry. This is a brand new computer. Did I do something? AT&T. Mic check, mic check. Back. You're back. What in the world? I don't understand. We've done all of the things. We have literally gotten a dedicated fiber internet line brought out here to the barn in the middle of nowhere. I have a new computer. Everything has been mic checked. It's because I'm talking too much. No, honey. No, it's not because you're talking too much.
It's okay. Guys, this is what we
That's
find.
what it's trying to tell me.
We find so much. Don't move.
Don't move.
Nicole said don't move.
Okay.
All right. So many people run into issues just like her with her trick riding and so many other people. Trick riding is an amazing college level education. A doctorate, if you will, a master's degree, if you will. Jumping is a master's degree. Reining is a master's degree. Barrel racing is a master's degree. It's a college education. It's their job. So many times we're running trouble. Like her, she went through 20 plus horses to find a good trick riding horse because the perfect horse had to almost waltz into her life. So many people on the trail that are simple trail riders, they're waiting for the perfect horse to waltz into their life that has the perfect disposition, that wants to do the right thing, that wants to be on the trail, that wants to do all these things. It's simply because our education in horsemanship, we forgot elementary school. We forgot.
Okay, it's telling you not to move too. So keep your hands down. Put your face.
We forgot elementary school.
Put your face right here and just stay still.
We forgot elementary school, guys.
Don't be animated.
We didn't get the opportunity to start in the beginning and make sure that the fundamentals are there. Time and time again, we talk about the palm horses. I didn't end up in this line of work by choice. Whenever I looked at it and I said, what would I like to do with my life? Let me just work on the most problematic horses that exist. That wasn't exactly my train of thought, okay? This might sound a little bit cocky as a young man, but when I turned pro as a professional my rookie year, I have been winning my whole life. And not by any means of my own, just my father had the recipe to success and winning. And I had won, 50 plus national championships, world championships, had won since I was 6 years old, all the way through my teenage years, all the way through the amateurs, everything. So I kind of expected to have show horses and training horses just show up at the farm whenever I announced to the world that I was going to go professional. That's not what happened. Like when I say that's not what happened, I couldn't give away my training like for free. So it just turned to the place out of necessity and adaptation from failure that, hey, I'll take anything you've got. Oh, you got a one-eyed Mustang that's albino that's murdered a couple people? Yeah, I'll take that. You got something that's flipped over and hurt three or four or five? Yeah, I'll take anything. And through edit, was I ready for that? Absolutely not. Did I know how to work with that? Absolutely not. All I had ever ridden was finished show horses in a show ring.
Okay, give me a timeline here. When is the first time you rode a trotty horse? It's been less than 10 years ago.
Oh yeah.
Sure. All of you that are out there who have ridden horses your whole life and cantered horses at some point in your life, Michael did not canter. He did not ride a trot that has all happened new within the past 10 years. So if you're willing to do this and you're willing to put the effort in and you're willing to try and be okay with making mistakes and keep trying and keep getting better, waiting to see if the mic hasn't went out. Okay, cool. If you're willing to do that, you're going to keep finding success and you're going to go as far as you want to go. So any of you that have on your goal list that you want to be safe, that you want to feel safe on your horse, that you want to canter and be able to feel comfortable going fast and not feeling like your horse is just going to leave you, understand that this man looked like a chicken less than 10 years ago.
My sister would pick on me. She said I had chicken wings anytime I cantered. My elbows would go up when I'd canter, and I couldn't trot because I couldn't stay seated. Because on my gaited horses, they go very smooth. The smoothest horses in the world is what I was used to. So I hadn't built a seat. So from the first time that I rode, I started taking in problem quarter horses and Mustangs. Let me tell you, that's not the ideal to learn how to trot and canter on. Is the horse is trying to kill you. Okay. But to think that from the time that I started trotting and cantering to the time that I went to the Mongol Derby was less than 5 years. And I went from not even being able to trot and canter around a round pen
to riding
to going over 700 miles trotting and cantering these wild Mongolian ponies that are the roughest, meanest things that you can imagine, like a hell pony. It's unfathomable. But you guys can do the exact same thing as long as we get our self-talk right and our relationship with failure, we get an understanding and a grasp on it. So many times whenever there's failure, we regress. We take away from it. We don't like the discomfort. Growth comes from failure. Growth comes from that pain, that adaptation process. And the adaptation process isn't given to an animal, isn't given to us as human beings unless we push ourselves, unless we find that discomfort, unless we find that failure, we aren't going to adapt. So the idea that a simpleton like me can go from not being able to trot around a round pen, not being able to canter, and 5 years later doing the longest, toughest horse race in the world on wild horses, cantering the whole time, standing up 15 hours a day in the saddle, cantering in 2-point and half seat is absolutely ridiculous. But the self-talk was there. And the relationship with failure was there. So I had a great relationship with failure. I always wanted to be the dumbest person, the dumbest person in the room.
The least educated person in the room.
I wanted to be the least educated person in the room, because you're an average of the people that you surround yourself with. So I always wanted to have people that were better than me. And anytime that I would get proficient or get good at something, I would go find another discipline that I wasn't good at and find that all over again. So if I can do that in that short amount of time, all of you guys can reach your goals and dreams. You just got to set it up in your mind that it's going to happen. I can, I will, I must. The other thing that comes from that, even if it's something that isn't, so for me, it was a way of making a living for myself and for my family. And I put it in my mind like it was mission impossible. Like it was no other option. Burn the boats. There's no coming back from this. I'm going to go do this. But if you kind of attack your hobby, your dream like that, it's amazing what it does to you, not just in horses, but in confidence in life, period. Because once you conquer one thing, once you conquer another, we have so many people on here watching right now that I see in the comments that I saw the first time that I met them. They were unconfident walking their horse down a trail. And now they're out there winning, Western classes at a canter, flying around, going bridleless, doing this.
Renee.
People who thought, my little gated horse can't do this or can't do that. And now they're winning ribbons. Other folks who, oh, my horse can't do this, can't do that. We have folks come to the retreat that are intimidated to lead their horse from their trailer to the round pen to do the first day of clinic. And by day 3,
they're trying to kill each other playing soccer and hitting pool noodles.
We're giving them pool noodle fights and just stepping out of the way. And I hand the sweetest, most meek, mild little lady a pool noodle. She says, what do I do with this? Smash somebody, Becky. Okay. Ah! And you think,
somebody who wasn't comfortable walking their horse is cantering their horse to attack somebody with a pool noodle, is running to the other end of the arena to get the soccer ball in the goal. Like it's just mind blowing, but you have to put in your head and try to remember, okay, I definitely did not plan enough time for all the conversations that we're having. So feel free, if you guys get tired, to hop off of here at any point. There is going to be a recording. It'll get sent to you. You're not going to miss out on anything. But we're going to end this self-talk portion of the conversation with, you can do this, you will do this, and you are not going to mess up your horse. I repeat to you, for those of you that are using that as the excuse that's in the back of your head, is you're afraid that you're going to mess up your pony. From somebody who lives in the world of ponies that have been messed up, there's been 5 horses in the history of Michael Gascon, 500 horses plus per year, that have had something wrong with them mentally, physically, emotionally, to the point that they were not fixable. You are not going to be one of those people. You are not going to have one of those horses. You guys can do this. Now, we're going to hit these other 2 topics rather quick so you don't fall asleep on me.
Be easy whenever you move it.
I'm not going to move it.
Oh.
You know, I'm not going to risk messing up the thing. Just go ahead and hit positivity real quick. I think you kind of hit it. What's your lasting point that you're going to leave with people for the night on positivity?
I mean, I tell you, it's as simple as that. It's impossible to have a positive life with a negative mindset. So you got to be positive and you got to be pushing forward. And the biggest thing for positivity for me is just think success is so close. You're just one thought away. So many times people will think their horse is so broken, they're at the verge of tears, and you change the curb chain 1 link and voila, the horse does it. You just move their hand a little bit to the left or the right, voila, the horse does it. The person sits forward or backwards, voila, the horse does it. And they're like, oh, that's all it took? Yes, that's all it took. You were just one thought away. So don't let failure frustrate you so bad to the point that you quit and you start losing your positivity. Remember, the question I always love to ask my clients, why do you do this? To have fun. Are you having fun? This is the biggest thing. We got to stay positive and we got to keep having fun, even when it's not going our way. You have to enjoy that as just part of the game and part of the journey and the fun of it. Positivity for me is just remember, you're one thought away from being a millionaire. You're one thought away from having a successful business. Whenever I was trying to get my business on the map and nobody knew who I was and I couldn't go anywhere and I couldn't get into an expo to save my life, I thought, I should make a viral video. There's a good thought. That's adorable. I tried 100 times and failed. And I tried to wear a cowboy hat and I tried to speak serious and I tried to give away information and I tried to give people this world-class gated information that I was gifted to by my family growing up. It all flopped. It all failed. And at Christmas, I saw a video of a dinosaur hopping off of a truck, eating a Santa Claus ornament on somebody's front lawn that had 80 million views. One thought changed my life. One thought changed my whole career. And that thought was, I'm going to be the first person to put a dinosaur on a horse. I've never looked back. It's never been the same since that one video.
Is that because you ran into the tree?
Like George's Jungle. That one thought changed everything. And that's what keeps me positive. Even on the worst day, the hardest time, you get behind, you do this, it seems like a mountain in front of you. You're just one thought away from striking gold. You're just one thought away from changing your life forever. And I remember that one thing changed my life forever. Now, there's been a lot of other things that have changed my life.
Which will come up later this week. We're going to have a lot of conversations about our failures, how we fixed it, what we did different, ideas that we had that didn't really turn out the direction we wanted them to, but ended up getting us to a better place and putting us in a better direction because of it. I'm going to tie these two conversations, the self-talk and positivity, together with support by bringing in his viral video. On that first viral video that he spent hundreds trying to get to it, finally hit his success. The views are going up. Everything's great. And your first instinct is to go check out the comments. And I want you guys to keep in mind that when you want to go on this journey, when you want to reach your goals, when you want to work with your horse, build your confidence, whatever your goals might be, do not put yourself in a situation or in a position with people to take their criticism that aren't going to be on the right track or headed the same way that you are. Don't let people who might be envious or don't have the same goals, don't have the same aspirations, don't have the same journey. Don't surround yourself by those people and try to put yourself up there for attack, because quite honestly, a lot of people, not just the horse industry, everywhere in the world, there's not a whole lot of positive people on social media. So if you can be that person, be the positive person. I had to get over this a lot when I came into the industry. You know, I came in 5 years after Michael had already started into this process, and you go through the comments and you would get so personally offended that these people sitting on their computer would attack everything about what you've worked so hard for, and you feel like you finally get it, and you see all this negativity, and it's just like, oh my gosh. So find that support group, find that group of people, find that table where you feel like everybody else around you is headed in the right direction or headed in the direction that you want to go. Surround yourself with friends and people that want to see you succeed. I'm going to say that again for the people in the back. Surround yourself with people who are happy for you and want to see you be successful. Honestly, want to see you be successful.
Don't let people who have no effect on your life affect your mind. Your mind is the most important thing that you have, because that's what starts everything. Is your self-talk, is your mind, is your positivity. And when you start snowballing this, and when you start really getting your head wrapped, things, positivity works just like every other muscle. The more you start working it, the more you start getting wound up in it. You look around and say, how could people not be positive? They're alive, they're awake, they can eat, they can drink, they're free, they have the ability. You have a horse. You have a horse and you're not positive. That's first world problem. We just came from Africa where people don't put money in the bank because the government would just press a button and take all of your life savings like that. In Kenya a couple of years ago, the government changed and they showed up and they said, hey, if you're a business owner, we don't care how big the business is. If you're not a Kenyan resident, get out. You got 24 hours to leave. Get out or die.
And leave everything.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine working your whole life to build a business for the government to say it's not your business anymore and get out just like that? The farm invasions that we hear about from over in Africa, over 90,000 farms, they were exporting everything from tobacco to fruit to sugars to all these wonderful, amazing things, dairy, everything you could think of. The farm invasions happen over there, and basically they take the farms, and I'm very familiar with this, being a first-generation Cuban American, just like Fidel. We're going to take it away and we're going to give it to the people. The people deserve this. Those farmers, they don't deserve it. Awesome. I would love for give my farm to the people and see how many people do my job. So that's just
crazy problem horses for everybody.
That's just what happened.
Problem horse for you.
The government took these farms, 90,000 farms. They have less than 8,000 farms left. They took these farms and gave it to the people. Within 1 year, they were no longer exporting anything. They had to start importing because there's no food. Because without the farmers that know how to run the farms, the people that they gave it to don't know how to run the farms, don't know how to run the equipment, don't know how to keep maintenance on the equipment they have. So all stuff that they stole and they took, they couldn't run it. So the fact that we are in the first world and we get to work a horse, how can we not be positive? We are so blessed to wake up every day, so have these amazing opportunities. And once you start thinking like that, oh my gosh, once the ball starts rolling forward in that direction, it's really hard to have a bad day. It's really hard to, and then you get a handle on your relationship with failure, when you start pushing yourself to adapt and you start pushing yourself to learn and grow, oh my goodness, it's like people think there's something wrong with you. If you're the positive one in the group, why are you the one that has the problem? Just because the average and the group is negative by nature. I mean, watch the media. Anything that you see on there, there's no positivity happening there. Let's go ahead and turn that off, okay? Let's spend less time watching the media and more time on our ponies, right around in nature and enjoying ourselves. And it's really easy to get this snowball of positivity rolling in your direction.
So there were two quotes that I probably should have led with, but we had a lot of things to cover this evening. Everyone is somebody, even a nobody, by Rafiki. What you got? I'll let you do your own quote. So I pulled a bunch of different quotes from The Lion King and things that stood out to me. And for this one, it's like, for us, probably how this hits home the most is we can relate this back to the Africa trip. The farm invasions, everything that happened over there. So at this safari where they went from having over 200,000 horses in this country to 2,000 horses in this country because of the farm invasions, horses being offed and taken out of the population, horses being left on the farms to starve, and people just had to up and leave and lose their property, lose the horses that they cared about. And it really, really, really hurt the horse world over there. And so they have 5 rescue horses that they rescued from one of the farm invasions that were left there, that were just basically left to die. And they were able to rescue them and rehab them and bring them in. And it was super heart-wrenching because that's like a whole new level of story. And we hear everything. We have horses come in with all these pasts and all these different things. And everybody deserves a chance. Everybody who's a person, a horse, whatever it may be, every single one of you deserves a chance in some way, shape, or form. You have to be willing to go out there and take that chance and put yourself out there and try to better yourself to be something and be somebody, because you are. The same thing with these horses. A lot of times they get a bad rap, they get a bad experience, they do something bad that is a horse behavior that we see as bad behavior, and somebody gets hurt because of it. There's a lack of communication and something happens, and these horses get written off and these people get written off for whatever they did, and they get that held to them. And so one of the quotes that Michael talks about, I wrote it down for you so you wouldn't forget it.
Yeah. You wrote down my own quote?
Yeah.
Imagine what you can do if you hadn't been told what you couldn't. There was so many times that I had an idea to do something, and a lot of times it's the closest people to you. They love you, so they're trying to protect you by telling you how unrealistic your thoughts are. Well, I have a lot of unrealistic thoughts that are in the flesh right now because I didn't listen to that. But we talk about perception is everything. Perception is everything. The person who complains about their desk job or their cubicle or their office, come hang out with us and the teenagers whenever we're bucking hay in South Mississippi in July and August. They will last 1 or 2 days and miss their office job really much. The same way for us, even though, we work a hard job, it's hot, it's all day, it's every day. Going to Africa was really life-changing to just be reminded, hey, you are so lucky and so blessed to be in a stable place, a free place that you can just do what you want to do. The most amazing place that I have been to is by far Africa. And I've been to, 20 countries in the past 5 to 7 years.
6 continents.
I've ridden a horse on all 6 continents that have horses. Every time I come back to America, I kiss the ground. I'm thankful to be here because it's the land of the free, the home of the brave. And I'm so happy to just be in a stable place where I can do what I want to do. And perception is everything. If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So getting your head wrapped around perspective is everything. Well, what's perspective? The way you think about something, that self-talk. So if we can change the way we look at things, we can change our perspective and say, hey, I get the opportunity to do this. I get the opportunity to ride a horse. I get the opportunity to put pressure on myself. So many times people are getting in trouble with horses because they put no pressure on themselves to learn the language of the horse. And now they're trying to pressure the horse to make the horse understand them. We are the most intelligent beings on this earth. Okay. with that being said, if you apply a little pressure to yourself to speak the language of the horse, which is a very easy language to understand, if you're willing to do the work, understand in bold letters here, the work only works if you do the work. Put a little pressure on yourself to speak the language of the horse. It's amazing. It's like having a universal language where you can go country to country, speak to any horse you want to, like your Dr. Doolittle or somebody. We can show you how to do that, and we can give you that confidence to have with your horse. And it all starts with that self-talk of believing you can.
You think you're Dr. Doolittle?
Oh, yeah. Definitely Dr. Doolittle.
I hear you act out what you think the horses are saying when you work with them, the conversations that you have with them. Or it's always good when the conversations turn to Spanish and I can't understand what's happening. You know that they're having a good conversation. So one of our code words. So on that quote, imagine what you could do if you hadn't been told you couldn't. This really hits home because when you're talking about, we hear this all the time, I'm just a trail rider. I just want to ride my horse safely. I just want to go out and walk my horse on a loose rein. What do you call the trail riders? Just the trail riders of the horse world.
Yes, it's a little bit of a peeve of mine when people tell me I'm just a trail rider, because our industry has conditioned you to think that you are somehow a lesser rider because you're riding in the wilderness. It doesn't matter how fancy you are. If you are a Grand Prix dressage rider, if you are a world-class reiner, $1 million reiner, if you are an amazing Expo Liberty trainer, all those folks have one thing in common: a controlled environment in which they know every square foot of. The reiner will pick up the dirt in their hands, smell it, throw it up in the air. No, it's not good. The jumper will say, a roof. I don't even want a roof because it might cast a shadow. They know every bush and everything. Paso Fino trainers, we have a practice day on our gated horse, the smoothest horse in the world. They give us a practice day just to make sure we know where every banner and bush is, as if it's going to be a problem. So whenever you say I'm just a trail rider, you're saying that me and my horse are so that darn good that we're going to go out there and beyond, or in the wilderness, and no matter what happens, we're going to be okay. I love the boldness in their statement. You know, fortune favors the bold. But most people don't realize that they're making a bold statement until they do it. So they're making their remember. I just know when we're good. Don't worry, babe. You got words to spare.
I don't have words to spare. That's not true. I wonder why it's...
I don't know. It sucks.
Sign language. Yes or no? Yes? Okay, look. See? Now don't talk. Stand on one foot.
Good.
You're
back.
We're good.
Awesome.
Oh, look at... Oh, okay. There must be a delay. We must have been back on for a little bit, just like you said. Oops. Yeah. See,
did you catch the part where she was cussing me out? No,
I did not cuss you out.
Just checking. Sorry.
If I did, I would do it in another language.
So what I'm saying is, don't belittle yourself. Don't lessen what you're doing. You're saying that you're a trail rider. You are going out there prepared for the elements, prepared for everything. And you can absolutely do that. And again, magic's only magic if you don't know how to do it. We're going to show you how to do it. We're going to talk about how to do it. It was the same thing in Africa with the same lady that I gave that bold statement. The same bold statement you said, I'm just a trail rider. Hey, I'm just a trail trainer. And if on the trail there's an elephant or a wildebeest or some buffalo or a lion, it's going to be okay. And, not to get into horse training today, but I knew that if we control the head, we control the horse. And we go over there, we start colt starting, and it's the last day, and they want to go on a safari. And they're like, what do you think about riding a colt start out? Second day under saddle of this colt start. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. I'm game. For sure. And then when we get started, doubt starts creeping into my host, and my host says, "Hey, no, wait a second. There's elephants out there. There's a herd of elephants. There's like 20 elephants there. I don't think you should. And don't worry, I'll be okay." Again, imagine what you could do if you hadn't been told what you couldn't. So we hop on. I ride, riding this horse that had only been ridden one time prior to the time that I'm riding it. We go out. Also, and it's in a big group. You know, a lot of us are scared of big groups of horses. We're probably a dozen horses deep. The elephants pass by. We watch them pass by. The next thing we look up to a cloud of dust as if there's a sandstorm coming. And it's over 500 water buffalo, a herd of water buffalo coming our way. And we ride right up to them. And water buffalo in Africa, if you don't know, are one of the scariest things. It's one of the very few things that spooks the Africans. They are worried because they kill a lot of people. Just like in Alaska, when you ride horses up there, Alaskans are different creatures, okay? They are not scared of bears. But if they see a moose, you see them sit upright.
You're going up the wrong tree.
And get quiet.
Your squirrels in all the trees.
You see them worried. It's just, okay, moose, water buffalo, bad news. So now the host is looking at me like, we're in trouble. No trouble. Ride the horse like the horse you expected. You know you put in the time the day before and that you have all the fundamentals. Breathe that positivity, that self-talk. The horse rode like a champ. I would say it wasn't the worst riding horse out there on the safari that day.
Oh, no, there was nothing wrong. She was
the horse walked on a loose rein, nice and easy. A lot of the other horses would have to be held up on because they've been riding, endurance-y, English style, where you have to hold on to the bridle the whole time. Now they're throwing their heads all over the place. My mare just walked out there. We walked probably 30 yards away from this big herd of water buffalo.
I don't think they're water buffalo. I think they're Cape buffalo. I'm just reading the comments. Also,
it was amazing.
Your squirrel went into like 6 different trees.
Anywho,
you're picking all these different things.
Anything can happen on the trail. So trail riders, you guys are awesome. You are the kamikaze of horse people.
Okay, so that was supposed to be like a one-liner. You kind of went all different directions.
Gotcha.
It's okay. We're going to rein it in. So I had a bunch of things planned for tonight. Considering that we're an hour and 21 minutes in, I had a story that we were going to share with you. We had a video review session, and we were going to watch the first part of our YouTube vlog. I think since we're so far in, if you guys want to stay on with us, we're going to go ahead and do our video review session since we've been in Africa for 2 weeks. Our members to our membership club, every Tuesday you can send in videos and we do video review of whatever exercise that you're working on with your horse. And we walk you through the process, tell you what to change, tell you what to fix, give you live feedback. So please feel free. We're going to go straight into it right now. If you guys want to watch it on the replay later, you'll get an email of this that you can, if you're in the confidence coaching group, you'll get an email back to let you know on this recording if you want to watch it later. But if not, we will see you tomorrow, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And I'm going to hop on here real quick. I'm going to
make sure to join up, guys.
Switch this over. We're going to go
watch me a little bit
into.
All right, guys, going into the reviews. Let's see what we've got.
Which one do I want? I think I want this one. Okay, perfect. All right. Thank you guys so much. For any of you that are hopping off, thank you for joining us. For everybody who wants to stay on, we're going to go straight into our video reviews and see where we're at.
We're doing this here on this talk, but this is something that we do every Tuesday. And we've done it for, I don't know.
We're 2 weeks behind. So
years. We've been doing it for a very long time with our followers.
We started in 2020 during COVID.
Okay, so a couple years we've been doing this, and it's amazing how close people are to success just doing the process on their own, and how much it helps just to have somebody say, hey, drop your hand. Hey, sit back. Hey, look where you're going. Hey, do this or do that. And you're like, oh. So I love the opportunity to watch people ride and to go from there. So that's exactly what we're going to do now.
All right. So this looks like this is Melody Hill and River. And Melody, if you're on here, if you want to throw something in the comments and let us know what you're working on for this video. Looks like we're going to do some gate work.
So River is a Rocky Mountain. He's a gelding that came to us for training. And boy, he was a little bit of a spooker when he came. He was a little
And a bucker.
waspy.
He was a little bucky.
So this is a gaited horse. We're working on gaiting. So if you want to see if they're gaiting, the other two options that they could be doing if they're not cantering is trotting, which their front left and their back right diagonally would be landing at the same time. Or River, when he gets out of it, he likes to pace time here and there. And the way you can tell that is look at both feet on the same side, and they will look like a choo-choo train. So gait is on one end is in the middle of the spectrum. Trot is on one end of the spectrum, and pace is on the other.
Explain what you mean when you say they're working on gaiting.
So she's gaiting around here, so she's not trotting. She's looking to pick up 1 foot at a time. And when gaited horses do this, they're not bouncing like a trotty horse would, because a trotty horse picks up 2 feet at a time, and that's where you get your bounce. A gaited horse only picks up 1 foot at a time. And because of this, it makes it very smooth for the rider. So when you say, how does the rider work on it? She works on it by putting the horse in a collected position to help the horse out. River likes to pace occasionally, which puts both feet on the same side, landing at the same time. So she's giving him a little headset. She's sitting back and driving his butt under him.
He is pacing, and I'm trying to get him to gait more consistently. So keep in mind, too, both River and Melody had been through what we call our Respect series, which is just grade school. So this horse has already been through everything from preschool to 12th grade and passed those tests. Now we're working on getting that gaiting more consistent.
So remember, pace is a straight line gait. So a couple things we can do. We can lower his head a little bit more, or we can leg yield him and get a little bend in his body. Both of those things are going to drive his back inside foot under him first. And that's what we're trying to get, is that back inside foot to land first, so we get 1, 2, 3, 4. For you guys watching, if you're watching for pace, look for both feet on the same side. If it looks like they have a chain attached to both feet on the same side, he's close to pacing. If his back foot is coming close to his front foot, then he's gaiting.
So the next question is, so a gaited horse doesn't just automatically get it or do it?
No. Does a gaited horse automatically gait? Not necessarily. So this horse, he has to be collected to do it. It's the same thing. Does a trotty horse, does a Western horse naturally have a lope? Does the English horse naturally collect up and drive from the rear end? No, you show them how, and the more educated they become, the better they get at it. So gaited horses a lot of times are the same way. River was tense and tight whenever he came to us. So because of that, whenever he would get tense and tight, that would cause the pace. And now a couple of things we can do to help that pace is simply push his shoulder over, get a little bend in his body. That's going to help.
So
or lower his head some.
Does she need to stay in a circle, or what does she need to do there?
So we can lower our hands some and lower his head as we drive him forward with our legs. That would help. And then we can come out of that circle and push that shoulder over. That's another way. So there's 2 different ways to be able to work on that.
What drills are those going to be?
How do you get him to lower his head? Start by lowering our hands and look for him to find a release by lowering his head. See how we have our hands high up by our elbows? We can start lowering them down towards the pommel of the saddle, and that's really going to help.
What are some drills? So you want her to do shoulder yielding in the Respect series.
Mm-hmm.
So work on shoulder yielding. What do you want her to do to help exercise wise, or just drop her hands to get him to lower his head? Is there another exercise you want her to do?
No.
Just that one. Okay. She said, are we going too slow? And is that encouraging pace as well?
Nope. What's encouraging pace is the fact that he's straight and kind of tense. So if we can loosen him up a little bit by the 2 things I just said, we can shoulder yield out, or we can drop his head. Either one of those things is going to help you drive his butt under him. Right now, his butt's kind of behind him, and his head's kind of a little high. His chest is out. We can just lower his head a little bit, or we can leg yield. And for the folks that are watching this for the first time, usually whenever we have our Zoom call, right?
It's video review now.
It's a video review. She would be able to talk to me live, so we would just have this conversation with words, just spoken word, which makes the process a lot easier as well. The platform that we're on right now, we're doing it through comments, but usually on Tuesdays we're just having this conversation. and whoever's horse we're watching in the video, they just unmute themselves and they talk to us.
Ask questions. Now she's working on the pivot.
Right there. That's nice. Opening the door, take that inside leg and rein off. Make sure you're closing and wrapping that outside leg on. There we go. Make sure you're bumping with that outside heel. But that's looking pretty good.
Should she pick one direction and work on that for a little bit instead of switching back and forth?
Absolutely. It's better if we get one thing down pat before we start dividing it, going back and forth. A lot of times, whenever we're working on spins, we will trot in one circle and then spin that way. Trot a different circle and then pivot that way, because the trot is where our cadence comes from.
Let's see. Erika, if you want to rewrite your question, I'm not sure what that W word is, and I'll answer it for you. Does the will height help to lower the head? I'm not sure what that is. Can you put him in reverse, hold the rein, and move out with the head and rear set like with the passo? I imagine that's for helping with gaiting versus pacing.
Can you put him in reverse?
Hold the rein and move out with the head and rear set.
Absolutely. Can you put him in frame and then move forward? That's the way that you should move every finished horse. You show them where you want their head, draw a line in the sand basically with your reins, and then ask them to move forward with your legs. Your legs drive them. Your reins at this point should only be telling them where their head goes. So, yes.
Can a gaited horse canter?
Yes.
We're about ready to see one here in a second.
So, you see this?
Oh, you can't see it. No. Oh, you're
boom. You see that? Paso Fino winning a roping competition.
Look what you did.
Hey, I believed it could happen way before it happened. So, yes, a gaited horse absolutely can canter. And not only canter proficiently enough to win a roping competition out of 108 teams. So yes, they can.
He's not a proud dad at all. All right, now we have Miss Wendy with her horse Fireball. Fireball is also a gaited horse.
Another Rocky.
A Rocky, and she's been working on a lot of cantering with him.
So a lot of folks, they see me cantering my roping and jumping and doing all these things with my gaited horses and neck reining and doing all these things that they want to do it with their gaited horses. And I'm so honored to be the one to bring it to them, because when I started deciding that I wanted to spin and slide and rein with my gaited horses, people told me how I couldn't and how it was impossible and how they couldn't do that and how they can't canter.
Okay, so she's wanting to work on having a smoother, slower trot.
Well, first and foremost, that's looking a lot better.
She says she keeps getting on Facebook and being hard on herself.
Right. That is as good as I've seen him trot with you. A lot better. You're sitting back.
Make sure you're breathing.
Yeah, make sure you're breathing.
It'll make the bounce so much.
And you can start drawing your hands towards your lower thighs, towards your knee to drop his head.
Hey.
And every time that he drops his head, lower your hands and give him the reins back.
He's trying to. Look at him go.
Oh, he's doing good. Sit back over his butt. The more we sit back over his butt, the more to raise his withers and drop his head. He drops his head another 3 to 4 inches, and he is going to be ridiculously soft in that trot.
God, he looks so much better.
Look how quiet that is. So the reason we like to trot our gaited horses is because of this. When you gait horses, it takes a certain spark, a certain energy. And a lot of times, if we can get him to relax a little bit and trot, we can turn the motor off. So a slow trot is the key to a collected canter, a slow lope. And Western horses, well, guess what? It's the exact same key to gaited horses having a lope, is you get them to trot, carrying themselves very balanced and very quiet, not trying to get away from you or speed up. And that's where your wonderful lope is going to come from. Oh, gaited horses can't canter. Have you ever watched them in the field? They run around all the time. Most gaited horses are only ever gaited. So, yeah, they don't canter well under saddle.
He is looking
through
so
focus
good.
And repetition. You can't. So she's really focused on that, and she's really repeated it, and the results are right there in the video of how good that she's doing.
So Patty said, so even though I'm having pacing issues still with Taylor, should I work on trotting?
Trot is the opposite of pace, so absolutely. If I have a pacey horse, it's nothing for me. If I have a month, it's nothing for me to have a pacey horse come in and all I do is trot them for 3 weeks out of the 4 weeks because I know that's going to relax them. I know when they're trotting and the motor's off, I'm going to gain amazing body control of the horse because they're so relaxed. And because of that, whenever I do pick them up and ask them to gait, I'm going to have full control to be able to put their butt wherever I want, their head wherever I want, and ultimately get the gait that I want. So yes, if your horse is pacing, trot good. Trot them like a quarter horse. Get them Western as can be, relaxed as can be. It will absolutely translate into helping your gait.
So amazing, Wendy. Thank you. It's awesome to watch. So Wendy's been working on all kinds of things. She's been working on cantering with her horse and getting her confidence up with that. And it's just been every week it's something new and bigger and better. And it's awesome. So encouraging. All right. Now we've got Miss Ashley. This is Ashley McDonald. And if you're on here, Ashley, I didn't see a comment for what you're working on.
You're asking I'm going to go back?
We're trying to get forward movement.
So if we're trying to get forward, don't argue in a straight line. Anytime I'm working on a horse and
well,
the cameraman, it's just like around here when I get in trouble. All right, so I was just about to say, don't argue with a horse in a straight line to go forward because it can cause an explosion.
So we want to go
just like in the academy, this happens all the time where I'll say, hey, watch out for the. So if we have a horse that doesn't want to go forward, we want to work on the steering wheel driving them forward. So right here, instead of pushing this horse to go forward and he's kind of stuck and kind of refusing, and we're kind of pulling on his face and kicking him in a straight line, if we can disengage him and get that butt moving, control the head, control the horse, everything that doesn't behoove your health and well-being happens in a straight line. And this accident happens in a complete straight line. Bucking, running, and rearing happens in a straight line. So everything that puts us in control happens to the left and the right. So right now, if you would just grab that horse and soften his face and give his butt, soften his face and move his butt, soften his face and move his butt to the point that he's more worried about the reins than the pressure you're putting to move, then when he goes to buck, you'll simply be able to turn him and take his butt from him.
So looking at these videos too, Ashley, if you can go back, revisit first grade, second grade, third grade in the respect series, we'll revisit those and send us a video. Just seeing you sit on him here, you can tell that there's something missing in the foundation. So if we can go back to those steps, we can see where we can find that resistance and get him soft and easy. And then like Michael said, once you get in the saddle, actually working on disengaging the hindquarters and freeing up that back end to send him forward. So you don't have such a soft, such a hard and rigid face and neck where everything there looks stiff. He's already arguing with you. He doesn't want to go forward. So if we can get him softer and easier and do that from the ground where you feel more comfortable and more confident, we can fix that before we get into this situation.
So this is the first time that I'm seeing this video. And I was just about to say before the accident happened, I never argue with a horse that doesn't want to go forward in a straight line because it can cause an explosion. And then before I can get the whole sentence out of my mouth, there was an explosion. There's a reason that we have everything in the order. In our respect series, we go kindergarten, first grade, second grade, fourth grade is mounting, fifth grade is flexing, which is getting the steering wheel. Sixth grade is disengaging the hindquarters, grabbing their face, moving their butt. And that's what we could have worked on to get him going forward. So when this happens, you've already softened him so much that he's not going to take you like that. I hope that you're okay. I hope that you didn't get injured in that. And hopefully we can get him softened up for you for next time.
Yeah, go back and visit those videos and send us in some videos for next week working through that process so we can help you. All right, so this is going to be Barbara. We are working on the step around. She's been sticky on her shoulders, but we are getting it. And this is her and her Pasofino Chica.
There we go. So nice. So when you get that step, if it's hard for you to find it, make sure to release on it. She gave you a couple good steps there. Release that and pick it back up so she knows exactly what you're looking for. All right, so you're backing her and then melting her. I imagine that's because she's giving you a lot of forward, which it looks like right there. Melt to your right cheek. Sit on her right hip. Open the door for her. There we go. As soon as you can see that front right foot step out to the right, that's when you want to release. If you can be very clear about that moment, it can be the difference in it taking you 3 minutes, 30 minutes, 3 days, 30 days. We could all of us be saying the same thing. And the difference in when we let go on the perfect time will be the difference in how long it takes the horse to understand it. Just missing it by a moment, a second late or a second earlier, holding it a little bit long will be the difference in her understanding when that door opens, follow through with her shoulders versus moving her butt around.
So Barb said, I thought I might have had too tight of a rein.
So the tight rein wasn't a problem. A couple of times we had a nice shoulder movement. They stepped over, but we held on a little bit too long, and then she moved her butt, and then we let go. So now she doesn't understand if you're just moving the shoulders or are we moving the shoulders and moving the butt. So the tight rein is not an issue. It's right when we releases the issue. So right here, I would just look to get one step to the right. There we go, and release. So you're going left, opening the door to the left, look for that front left foot, and the second it steps out from under you, release, even if you don't feel like you're getting far. Shut down that forward movement with that outside rein.
So I want you guys to keep in mind, for everybody new who's on here, these horses have already been through the majority of them have already been through our foundation system and worked on any issues that they had. They already go out, they trail ride, they go through obstacles, they do all these things. So to keep people moving forward, we have monthly challenges and different things that we're working on. So one of the challenges we had was working on a spin or a pivot. So a lot of these videos are them working on getting ready for that challenge, because we had them do a before video at the beginning of the month and an end video at the end of the month. So they might be working on a lay down, they might be working on liberty, they might be working on trailer loading, flying lead changes. The more that we can advance, the more things that we can do, the more challenges we keep adding to the program.
There we go. That was nice.
So that's why you'll see some similarities. Let's see. So we have somebody that says, hold on, get a couple comments in here. What do you recommend to use when you have a horse that ignores leg pressure and heel pressure so we can disengage the hindquarters? So we don't actually, in our program, when we're first starting out, you can explain the use of leg cues. Sorry, I'm talking too much. Good, you go. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So this is the whole thing. Your leg cues are never the problem. Your horse being dull is never the problem. You can have a bum lazy of a horse that you have to spur to get to walk. The chestnut mare with the blue eye in the field will just flick an ear and he'll take off running. Your legs are not your problem. The understanding that your legs are a cue, and a cue is a nice way of asking, and control the head, control the horse is what the manual override is. That's what I'm talking about people having a master's degree in some college sport, in dressage and reining and this and that. And I'll get a horse that is refusing jumps. I'm not a jumping trainer. I'll say, okay, jump is just an obstacle. I'm going to get this horse to do the obstacle. And since I'm not trying to fix it with my legs, I'm not trying to fix it with the cue, I'm simply redirecting and sending them that way. I get them jumping. As simple as that is. Well, it's the same thing with moving their butt. If they're not moving off your leg, they don't respect the repercussion that's coming after that. And the repercussion that's coming after that is I'm going to reach down on the rein and grab their face and use their face to move their butt. And that's going to be what we call the manual override. All of our finished horses are either bridleless or neck rein or barely ever touched. The national championships that I've won, I won all those national championships, barely even moving my hands. But to get to that, understand that's the end. That is the master's degree. That is the doctorate. First, we have to make sure that those reins right there work. That young lady right there is stepping a horse around with a halter on. Very basic on a very green young horse. And we're making it ridiculous and obvious. And whenever our cue or our leg or our calf doesn't work, we're reaching down and grabbing the reins and using their face to move the body part that we want. It's never the leg that's the issue. It's never the dullness that's the issue. It's the lack of respect or the lack of clarity to what we're asking.
Let's see. We had a couple other ones on here. To specify horse is extremely sensitive in general, but isn't quite grasping leg pressure. So to specify with that horse, like what issue was she running into with Tika? Was it the fact that the horse was hot or her not understanding, or just kind of bridging that gap?
To specify horses extremely sensitive in general, but isn't quite grasping leg pressure. If they're not quite grasping leg pressure, but they're sensitive, we need to make it more clear with the reins first. Clarity is our issue. Make it more clear with the reins exactly what we want them to do. And then once they grasp that, this is what I'm going to make you do with the reins. This is what I'm going to get you to do with the reins. This is what I'm going to lead you to do. Then we're momentarily, before that happens with the reins, we're going to put our leg on them. And that automatically just clears up any questions of legs. If they already know what to do with the leash, well, then getting them off leash obedience becomes so much easier. If you try to train a dog to do off leash obedience and they can't do on leash obedience, you might be able to do it, but it's going to take you a long time. If you could just show them what you want on the leash first and then wean them from that, that's what we do with the reins. We show them what we want with the reins, and then we wean them off the reins and get them onto our legs and onto our verbal cues and our leg cues.
Do we think we've made it big time when there's been multiple messages from adult entertainment companies messaging on our, commenting on our?
Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
I love spam. Spam is great.
Maybe
okay.
Maybe they know I saw my feet
Let's
pictures.
see. Miss Marcia says, when I keep a tight rein, gross. You're nasty horse working, stinky sock having, stuck in Africa, sweaty sock in a
I still
tit.
got a toe. Old River stepped on my toe. I still got a purple toe from it.
Yeah, you do. Okay, hold on. Miss Marcia said, when I keep a tight rein, my passo gets anxious. So yes, that's all going to come back to working through the program. We do a lot of the opposite of what these horses are used to. And a lot of people want to think, bigger bit, more control, something in their mouth. We actually take all of our horses back to just working in a horsemanship halter. So we take every horse, regardless of what their past, what their story, whatever they do, everything that comes here will walk, trot, canter, out and about in a halter, through the obstacle course, on a trail ride.
Everything.
We want everything to learn that a loose rein is great. And a loose rein doesn't mean just freedom, run away. A loose rein is comfort. A loose rein is relaxation.
More importantly,
your
a
head.
Loose rein is release.
Yeah.
That's what the horses are looking for. Their language is simply pressure and release.
Let's see. So are these people signed up in your actual training course? So we've actually never released a course yet. That is something that we have coming up in the future. But right now what we have is our Team MG membership club. We've had it since 2018. We're getting ready to kind of rebrand that whole program, which we'll talk about later throughout the Confidence Coaching Week. We'll kind of discuss what we call our Horse Help Success Path, where you are now and where we want to help you get to, wherever that might be. For the majority of people, hopefully the Confidence Coaching Week is enough to just get you excited and ready to go out there. But we have different services and different things that we offer all the way through, that if you want us to hold your hand and take you through the entire process, we can. We want to have a little bit of everything for anybody in between.
Okay. Press play.
Let's see.
Well, we're going to be running this video.
It's okay.
Into the next video tomorrow night.
It's okay. We're not going to.
We'll still be here talking whenever it's time.
It's okay.
to
All
play
right.
the next
Let's
one.
see. We're trying to get the canter. We get a few steps. I think I should have kept pushing instead of stopping and praising her. I also think I'm focusing on steering her instead of just letting her go. Got too close to the pivot a couple of times, which is her recording device, and you just get a blank arena until I come back into view.
Okay, let's see.
All right.
So we're looking to canter this young gaited filly, this young Paso filly, and she's doing it with a halter. And she has another gaited mare that she has done awesome with. So now she's doing it with she got so good at it that she wants to do it on a more difficult horse. So cantering is a huge mental hurdle. And we fear it because we fear the unknown. We don't know what's going to happen when we let them go. So right there, when we go to canter, think about this. Just use the inside rein and give her the freedom to go. As you're doing there, look at that loose outside rein. Awesome. Keep driving. Put your heels on her. Drive her back feet up under you by putting your lower leg on her. Good job. So, I'm saying good job because she kept kissing, kept at it. Whenever the horse cantered, it wasn't about cantering all day. It was about getting a canter and then releasing that energy and relaxing. you're going to find this filly is going to relax so much when you master this canter, when you get her cantering on that loose rein, and now fast isn't exciting anymore because she doesn't know how long she's going to go fast. There you go. Keep kissing, keep driving. Keep kissing. Lower leg. So we have just enough contact on her face, to make her think gait. Just give her the freedom. I know it's a scary thing, but you can't fly unless you jump. Okay, there we go. Trust in your left and right and give her enough of her face to go somewhere. If you feel her gating, it's because there's a little contact, and that little bit of contact, even though you're using just one rein, she's holding it up and straight. Just give her that freedom, put a little belly in that rein, and you're going to see she's going to canter more often.
We are getting better, but she does like tight circles even at a canter.
There you go. Give her the freedom to go. So right there, just that little bit of contact, she's gating with you. Put a belly in that rein. Give her the freedom. Just the way that horse's face looks, she does not want to run away with you. She does not want to go anywhere. So you're getting away from the fact that she's a green horse and getting into the fact that you're riding her enough and putting enough miles on her that she's not trying to get away with you. Give her the freedom to go, and she'll give you what you're looking for.
So you just put pressure on the inside rein and nothing on the outside rein closest to the wall.
Yep. So we call that riding the eye whenever we put the pressure just on one rein. It's super beneficial, especially like the horse that we saw a couple videos ago that might be a buck risk or might be a problem. This filly was a difficult little filly that came from a rescue situation, you know, where she got her and she worked her and she rehabbed her. Now I'm looking at her and it looks like a complete different filly. She's put in so much time and effort with her. Look at her licking her lips and processing. Like, she's all about this. The more she gets out of her comfort zone, the better the filly's working.
She's just getting a little bit of confusion because she sees that contact and thinks that she needs to be in frame.
Exactly. So usually when we're holding that inside around, we have the bend to the inside, and we call it riding the eye, kind of like you see there. But she's using it to gate, and we need to let her know that, hey, I need something different. So a lot of your big standardbreds, a lot of your Tennessee Walkers, whenever I go to get them to canter for the first time, hey, I just put them on a big straight line and a fence in front of my farm and just take off running like a banshee, because it's the only way they'll find canter, especially if they've been gating their whole life.
So one of the questions is, do they get the feedback after you view the video? So most of the time, this week's going to be a little bit weird because of the confidence coaching week. So we're making everything be all together. So that way nobody's missing out. But usually it's the same time each week, and most people just try to get on and be on for that conversation. And then if not, they get the replay afterwards. And if they have a question, usually they'll send in another video the next week. It might be something different they have a question about, or they'll email us and say, hey, can you have Michael answer this question? This is another question that I had if they missed it. All of us that work here are
look how chill it's hot. That horse is a firecracker. Look how she's been pushing and kissing and kicking and look how relaxed she's
looking good.
It just goes right back to imagine what you could do if people told you what you couldn't. Okay, this is the prime example of
go.
Prime example. But what if I fall? But what if you fly?
You made her gate too good, Michael.
No, hey, that's awesome.
She's so comfortable.
So you're not even a failure here. You're just at a lack of clarity. And when that filly figures out, when you drop the reins, when you give her that freedom that she can canter, and then whenever you hold her up at all, she's going to gate. It's going to be perfect.
Yeah, she can gate fast, can't she,
Look
Linda?
how strong her back end is. Look how well she's carrying you and how smooth she's gating. You're on the right track. Now we just need a little bit of clarity, and she's going to figure it out.
Somebody put a comment, but not have been able to get any reply, but that's okay, no worries. If you want to try to post your comment again, if we don't see it or we can't find it, you can always email me at gasconhorsemanship@gmail.com, and I would be happy to answer any questions that you have. Let's see. Somebody said once you have the pressure on the rein, you just speed her up. So that would be – so if we have a video called Riding the Eye.
when we have a video in our program, it's all about just getting the horse off center, and we actually don't want them holding on us like that. That filly right there is putting constant contact on that rein, and that's why she's gating. If she was on a loose rein with that bend, well, then she'd be cantering. But the fact that she's kind of holding on that rein is the reason she's gating.
So one thing to keep in mind too, and this is just kind of watching Michael go through his training sessions, pick something and work at it for a little bit. Try to get more and more reps in. The videos that we've had with the pivots, you guys will do like 1 or 2 attempts and then you'll go off and do something different. Don't be afraid to sit there for 5 minutes and get in 20 reps to this direction, 20 reps to that direction, because they're going to be that much softer and easier the next time. Even if they seem a little bit frustrated and they're kind of trying to figure it out, when you get some success and do a couple reps, it's easier for them to figure out versus getting frustrated and then just moving on to the next thing. What do you want her to do differently here?
So right now, it's just a matter of that horse getting a little softer in the face, and that outside rein being able to shut down that forward is going to keep that back in from driving forward. So everything you're doing it right. Just getting her a little softer, where she will come off of that rein a little easier. It's just going to make it come a little bit more correct, a little easier.
I must have missed a question somewhere about catching horses, but I'm sure we'll have one of those for the Q&A tomorrow. So just like we're doing the video review session at the end of this one, Wednesdays is our open Q&A. So after we're done with our confidence coaching conversation, we'll have our open Q&A after, which we usually try to do 10 questions, but we end up doing, 50. Oops. It's just sleep. Who needs sleep? Somebody asked earlier how we shut our brains off when we go to bed. We don't. We do sleep good, though. She's trying to figure it out.
So much of what's going on right here, it's just a little bit of lack of respect for the bridle. And I'm not saying that she respects enough that you're riding her everywhere and doing everything, but what you're asking her to do, if she had a little bit more respect for the bridle that you had on her, then she wouldn't be pushing into it, and you'd be able to pinpoint exactly where you want her a little bit better. So this might be the time that we change into a snaffle, or maybe even a snaffle with shanks, just to pinpoint more. The less your horse respects your bridle, the less you can pinpoint where they're putting their feet. The more they're willing to pull on the leash, the less they're going to heel. The less you're going to be able to say, hey, stand here right beside me. You see those amazing obedience dogs that, just are like machines, like robots. They don't pull on the leash. Like, they are standing there with their undivided attention on the person. They don't touch the leash at all. So that's kind of what you see here. You guys are working so good. She looks so calm, so easy, but she's laying on you some, and that laying is getting in the way of you being able to clearly tell her, hey, move this foot here now, thank you.
She has a full cheek snaffle and a snaffle with shanks. Which would you prefer her to move to?
Let's start with the full cheek snaffle, as it's the natural progression. See how that goes and see if she's any softer. And if you feel like she's laying on you the same way, or she's laying on you worse, then go ahead and move to the snaffle with shanks. The idea is to get her a little bit more respectful on the bridle so you can pinpoint where you want her easier. Get her healing better and doing obedience a little better.
Very nice job. I feel like every week you guys are working on something bigger and better.
Okay, so the video that we mentioned, Riding the Eye, we have a membership club with over 700 videos in it at horseguru.com.
Yes, it's currently waitlisted.
It's currently waitlisted.
Yeah, so we've changed our program up a little bit. We're moving to a completely different platform. So right now we had all summer we ran a free 3 months. You could get in, check out the program, do all the fun things. So that the last one of those free trials is actually up in November. So what we're doing is that's all going to be transferring over to a new platform. But pretty much after we get done with this confidence coaching week, we'll kind of run you through what options there are going forward. If you want additional help on something, if there's something that we can help you with. And that next step that we have coming up after the confidence coaching week is our horse help course. So this is basically our Respect series re-recorded. The last time that we recorded it was in 2018. So this is all the brand new material, the brand new examples, and it's taking you through preschool through 12th grade. This is the perfection. This is what we're looking for. This is what the drill should look like. Now let me show you an example of 4 different types of horses: a hot horse, a cold horse, a colt start, a gaited horse, going through each of those steps when they've never seen Michael before. We're actually filming the examples for that over the next week and a half. We just called people and we're like, hey, does anybody have a gaited horse that Michael's never seen? Does anybody have a draft horse or a dull horse that Michael's never seen? A sensitive horse or a problem horse, a colt start. And those horses are all coming in throughout this week and next week, where we can shoot 3 days worth of videos in a row of Michael working through those steps to show you real life examples. No covering anything up, just the nitty gritty straight down to it. This is what passing looks like. That perfection is what we're going to try to aim for eventually, but know that, what's what I'm looking for? How do I say this? Passing, not perfection. You want passing, not perfection. We want to show you ideally what we want it to look like eventually, but understanding that you don't want to ask for perfection from your horse. If the horse passes that grade, move on to the next one. And so what that does is it keeps you from not being the horse's limiting factor. And if they can answer the correct answer to each of those grade levels, if they can pass the final exam, let them move on to the next thing, and you'll be able to progress so much quicker. This is what's helped us with our training horses, to be able to cover so much ground with them in the 30 days, whether we're working on problems or whatever they came with in their background, to helping all of our members and people that we've worked with the last 4 years directly through the program find the success with their horses at home without feeling like they have to do it by themselves. And they can send in videos and have these live experiences and not just feel like they're thrown to the wolves to go try to figure everything out. But we'll talk more on that. We'll get more in depth as we go through everything. That's kind of just a quick overview of where we're at.
When teaching the canter, is it helpful to jump over a pole to cue for the canter departure? It's one way to do it. Obviously, some people do it, or we wouldn't even be discussing it. In my opinion, it's a Band-Aid. It's a crutch. We just want the horse to understand that, hey, there's one more gate, and we want to be able to just kiss for it. For my horses, if I click to them, they know to trot. If I kiss to them, they know to canter. And the same way that young lady's doing it, just with a little bit less clarity, so it's taking her a little bit longer. She's kissing and kissing and kissing until she canters. And the moment that horse canters, she stops kissing. Now, what we would like to do is increase that pressure a little bit, so she doesn't spend so long looking for the answer. We pucker our lips, and that horse is trying to canter. The quicker they canter off, the easier they find the answer, the less likely there is to be an issue. So no, you don't need a pole. Do people do it? Can it be done? Yes, it is. If you look through the respect series, though, we don't have a pole in there, and we're getting all the horses to canter off, no problem.
And getting comfortable with it, and you getting comfortable with it.
So that's the other thing too. A lot of times we're asking the horse to canter, and we want the horse to canter, but our brain doesn't want us to canter.
No.
Yeah, so it's hard to. The biggest thing about controlling the horse is we have to be able to control ourselves. And so many times it's the fear of the unknown. So you're kissing, you're going through the motions of somebody who wants to canter, but your body is not really saying canter to the horse. You're doing it half-heartedly, so your horse tries half-heartedly. Whenever we ask, especially green horses that don't know how to canter, we canter like we're trying to go somewhere, like we're trying to get there. As they get more advanced, we get them loping, and we really get them over their butt and really collected and things like that. But in the beginning, it's none of that. When I say canter, go. All gas, no brakes, let's go. That's scary. I understand. We use the circle, we use the steering to redirect them and not be in danger, so that we don't have to be scared of a runaway. But we can't teach a horse how to do something and already ask them to do it finish like. We can't teach a horse to do something on conception day, on a concept day, and expect for them to lope. That's not how it works. The greatest loping horses you see understand they have thousands of hours cantering, loping, slowing down, getting where they can carry themselves better. That's not how it starts. And that's one of the awesome things about our program is you get to see all these green horses. You get to see all these problems and realize that you are not alone. And that's really where your confidence comes from.
So one of the questions is what happens with our existing membership? Absolutely nothing. So that's all the same. Everybody who's already in is in. The name's going to change. It's going to be called the Horse Help Club here very shortly. And it's going to be a brand new platform that's so much easier. And it has the search feature that I've been talking about getting for the last 2 years, which means you can go up to the top of the search bar and put in any keyword that you want: buck, rear, bite, kick, lay down, whatever it might be. And it's going to show you every video in the exact transcript spot where that word is at. So you can look through all the videos, find the exact point in that video, and go to that section and get your question answered. all of the Q&As, everything's in there. So you can just search by keyword. The reason that we've kind of decided to branch off and do a course in front of our membership is one of the biggest things people would get frustrated with is we'd say, hey, we have over 700 membership videos covering all of these things, but we would make you go through the Respect series first, which is the foundation of our course. That's going to fix all of your issues, is that set of videos. And people would get frustrated that they couldn't just go to the lay down. They couldn't just work on the sit, go to Liberty, work on flying lead changes. So now by having people go through the course first, they get all of their questions answered. They go through those foundation videos. It's going to be a 6-week course live with us, answering questions, going live with you, making sure that all of your questions are getting answered, because ultimately all of those videos where we answer your questions are going to go right back into that course for the next group of people that come through it. Once you've successfully graduated through that, or you have the videos and you're able to get your questions answered at a later date if you can't go through it live with us, then when we put you into the membership, I don't have to gate off any of the videos. I don't have to keep you from getting into everything. We're just going to give you the free liberty to go out and explore all the things that you want to explore. So looking forward, the cool thing about this is we'll also give you the option, once you've gone through the course and we open up the membership to you, we'll also have a bonus opportunity for an extra 6 weeks that we're going to call Horse Help College. So a lot of times what we run into is, okay, I finished the Respect series. Now what are the next steps for me? That's going to be college. And that's going to be all of your college courses, all of your college grade levels you're going to take your horse through, and kind of keep you on track for success and really get you to that fine-tuned finished product that you want with your horse, to where when you hop into all the other videos, you're ready to go jump, matted shooting, do Liberty, flying lead changes. Trick riding's not in there yet.
Once you get into the habit of learning, I'm telling you, it's easy.
You don't stop. You'll see with these the ladies that are in here.
I'm telling you. Look at Miss Barb. Look at Renee. Look at all these.
Linda,
Wendy,
Robin,
Becky, Susie. All these, every name you
Melody.
can imagine. The beginning is the hardest for them. The just understanding, hey, the horse has to respect you. Hey, we need to build this relationship. Hey, we need to gain control of the horse's head. That's the hardest part for them. And it's really the easiest part. The part that they do after that is way harder. Cantering a little green paso is way harder. But it becomes so much easier because they start getting in the habit of, okay, failure's not bad. Let's figure out how to do it. And they're not getting frustrated, and they get in the habit of learning. And then next thing you know, they're snowballing. And we have so many folks that we have worked with over the years. I'm telling you, if you would see where they started to where they were, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable to see someone who's, intimidated by walking their horse in hand, to see that same person, cantering around and doing cowboy mounted shooting with their horse. Somebody that was intimidated with their horse to just go down the trail. Now they're doing extreme cowboy races. Just crazy to see. But it's, again, getting over the hump of starting and then building that, hey, learning is fun. Doing something that I'm not good at is fun because I know I'm going to learn. All right, well, let's get to it.
Okay, I'm going to answer one question.
The attention's dwindling.
Are you reading this?
Yes, the attention's dwindling.
That's okay.
Okay, cool. Let's go.
Good?
Yes.
Okay, I got one more question on here I need to answer too.
All right, so she's working on not traveling so much
bareback pivot.
Whenever she's
stepping
pivoting.
up our game.
So that outside rein, drawing that outside rein is going to keep that horse from walking so much. Then the next thing that we can do is we can put in, there we go. Nice. The next thing, if that horse starts coke bottling too much, we can do
What's coke bottling?
Coke bottling is whenever, like this, she's moving her shoulders and her butt at the same time. You see how she's crossing over in the front, but she's also crossing over in the back. That's coke bottling. So one of the things that we can do to really help that is we call it turn and burn. You put that horse trot in that circle, trot in that nice, wonderful, worn out circle. When I first started seeing videos from this young lady, this was grass. I repeat, when I first started seeing videos from this young lady, that was grass. Look how much she's ridden these horses that she has.
You do not need an arena. You don't have to have a round pen.
It was just a patch of grass, and now she has it. That's how hard she's working. All right. So the turn and burn is like this. We're going to put that horse to trot in a circle, and we're going to trot, sit, melt to our inside cheek, spin that horse in a circle, and then drive her right back out of it into the trot. And what that's going to do is this going to have that horse thinking, oh, I may be going forward and driving forward, but at any given time, you can shut me down, pivot me in a circle, and also I might have to drive right back out of it. And what that does is it makes them want to sit down on their butt, because at any given point of the circle, of the spin, you can push them out of it. The spin, they are thinking forward motion. The pivot, it doesn't happen from you just sitting there and pivoting and pivoting and pivoting, or the horse starts doing that where they start moving their butt or they pivot on the wrong foot, because it's too much standing in one place and asking. We want to start building a circle, building that bend, and start making that horse think forward, forward, forward. When you see the horses that are flying in a spin, they are not thinking about pivoting. They are thinking about the fastest, smallest circle that they can make, and it just so happens to be a pivot. But those horses are thinking forward, and that's how you build a spin. So this horse right here, if we just turn and burn by get her bent in that circle, get her going around the outside of that dirt circle you have there, and whenever you're ready, 2 legs and 2 reins, she's going straight around that circle. Whenever you want to spin, shut down, sit down on your inside cheek, drive her around in a circle, and then drive her right back out of it, back into that trot. So you're going to trot, spin, trot, spin, trot, spin, trot, spin.
Do we have a turn and burn video?
And that's how you are going to get her doing better and not coke bottling, not moving both ends at the same time. It's really going to help out.
We've got a really good horse in for training right now that I can take a video on that too, because we probably need that for, you've got all the pivot videos, but I don't know that you have that exercise specifically on there. So we'll do that. We'll shoot that tomorrow on Eli.
Guys, this confidence is so awesome. I always wanted to be a motivational speaker.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is right up your alley.
I always wanted to be a motivational speaker, and this is my opportunity, and I'm going to make the most of it and hopefully help as many of you guys as possible.
Okay, I've got one more question on here, and then we're going to end for tonight. Somebody asked about the founding member pricing for the course. I had mentioned that at some point during one of the Q&As leading up to this. So what we'll be doing is, after this confidence coaching week is done, anybody who wants to continue to join us for the lives and be a part of that and go into our course, this first group, you guys are like my test subjects. So you would all know that I have a lot of lovely technology errors. So if you hop on with us for the course after this, you will be founding member price, which will be half price. So super excited. The cool thing about the courses too versus the membership is when you go through the courses, this is lifetime access. So you have access to these videos. You don't have to keep a membership. It's not going to keep going through. So ultimately, as much as we love having you guys support us and be a part of everything that we do and being there for us all the time, at the end of the day, we only want you to have to stay because you want to keep learning or you want to do more. We want you to feel like you've reached all of your goals and you've gone through this process and you feel successful and safe and confident going out and about and doing what you wanted to do with your horse. The reason we want you to stay with the membership is we want you to want to keep learning and keep doing different things and learning new things and going through that process. But thank you guys so much for everything. I will be a little bit better scheduled for tomorrow. We'll try not to waste too much of your time. We both like to talk. We both like to joke and all that fun stuff. So thank you all for your undivided attention for the last, 2 hours and 7 minutes. We'll see you tomorrow for hopefully less time, and we will cover up all the things that we were missing, our story and our first video from our Africa trip to be able to share that with you guys. Have a wonderful night. We love you. Goodbye.
Bye.